Okay, so words matter. Words are the way that we convey ideas from one person's thoughts to another. Odds are pretty good that you're here because of words. Somebody wrote down or told you about this vlog, and now you're checking it out because you thought that you might be interested in it. In order for words to convey meaning from one person to another, they have to stand for something. There must be something represented by the words. Whether this is an abstract idea or a concrete object will determine whether or not that word is easy to define just by pointing to an example, or rather difficult to define and must use other words to come up with that definition. When we talk about words, we have to remember that they're not separate from cultural context. So while one word may have one meaning in one culture, and in another culture it may have a different bearing. Take, for example, communism in most of the 20th century. In some places that was a very real thing, in other places it was an abstract fear. No two words are completely interchangeable. When we choose to use one word instead of another, we're choosing to say this instead of that. When we choose to call a day drowsy instead of rainy, we're implying a different connotation. And that connotation can determine the way that that sentence and that thought is conveyed. I want to work on defining words in simple, clear terms so that when we have discussions, whether it's something concrete like pizza, or whether it's something abstract like love or the perfect pizza. I want us all to be on the same page so that the discussion can flow naturally. We don't have to waste time arguing from semantics. So that's one of the first goals of OK So, is to create a vocabulary where discussion flows naturally out of it instead of arguing about semantics. We may argue about whether a term fits the definition appropriately, but so long as we're working with the same definition, the conversation has a place to start from. When two people hold a conversation, they are trying to convey their thoughts to that other person so that they may be understood. They want to express their point of view to a person that is not themselves. One thing to keep in mind is that many words are charged with positive or negative connotations, and that those connotations can dictate the flow of the conversation. If you start out by defining pro-choice as pro-death, and then you're charging the conversation with animosity that may prevent further discussion. And when you use a vocabulary that separates people into groups of us versus them, then you're alienating the other position and not allowing it to be respected and viewed equally. Now, I'm not saying you can't have opinions, but the way that we form our opinions and the way that we explain our opinions is best done in a way that's free from emotional rhetoric and instead focuses on conveying ideas clearly instead of distorting the way that things are conveyed to support our position. When we start conversations from a place of consensus, in definition and in tone and in terms, then we can view the other person with respect and see their ideas as worthy of discussion instead of something to be easily dismissed. And if we do just dismiss every idea that doesn't conform with our own worldview as not worthwhile, then we're missing out on a lot. If ultimately our goal, as my goal is to pursue the truth, then to discount any viewpoint that doesn't agree with yours is to limit yourself to a wide range of experiences that may inform or change your own view. Okay, so words matter. So now let's find some common ground and get this conversation started. Thank you for joining me for OK So. If you have any comments or suggestions for future topics of discussion, please add them to the comment section. If you'd like to be notified when further videos are available, please subscribe. And if you have any comments or suggestions of how to make the show better, please post them in tasteful and respectful language down below. I've been your host, Jay Doe, and please tune in next time to OK So.